Hey neighbors, in the last video we looked at high-level overview of JavaScript runtime. If this topic is totally new for you, I strongly recommend to watch the previous video in order to get the whole context. JavaScript doesn't exist in a vacuum. Instead, the engine builds some kind of workstation called execution context. When you load a script, the engine creates global execution context, and if the function is called, it creates function execution context. So let's talk about it in more details. Let's walk through a practical example. Imagine we have a script file, index.js, and inside we have a simple function. Which takes two arguments, adds them together and returns result. I know I'm using here var, but in order to understand modern variable declaration, we need to understand the old-fashioned way. We are going to store result to another variable, sum. Let's say we are going to add 3 and 4. When we start our code, our script, engine creates global execution context. And every execution context has two phases. The first one is creation phase. And second one is execution phase. So in creation phase, it creates global execution context. And the first thing which it creates inside global execution context is window object, if we are in browser. Window object, and this keyword pointing to the window object. I can prove it if you write to the console this equals window, you will get true. After this basic setup, in creation phase, JavaScript starts to read our code. It reads two times. The first read is in creation phase, and second reading of our code is in execution phase. So it sees that we have here function declaration. So it takes add, and it creates copy of our function, and it stores to global variable environment. And second one, it sees sum, and it assigns value of undefined. So this was a creation phase. After creation phase, we have execution phase. In execution phase, Windows is the same, this is the same, and it reads our code again and it is trying to execute. So for add, nothing has changed because we have already defined our function, but it sees that we have a sum here and it wants to calculate it. But here is a function call. So for this, it is going to create new execution context, and it is called function execution context. And again, function execution context has two phases. First is creation phase. And second is execution phase. For creation phase, we have here arguments and a and b, So for function parameters, values are stored directly in a variable environment, but result in creation phase is undefined. After creation phase, we have execution phase, A is 3, B is 4, and it executes our function. So result is 7. And inside our function we have return result. So we are going from function execution context to the global execution context, and we are returning calculated value. So 7 goes here. And then what happens is we don't need function execution context anymore. So garbage collector is going to delete, wipe everything what is not needed. So, and we are at the end of our script. But I need to emphasize several things here. So I'm going to separate this. So here we have a creation phase, and here we have execution phase. So what is happening here? In creation phase, we declared our function in memory in creation phase, and this is hoisting. This is hoisting. That means if we put function call before function definition, it doesn't throw error, it works, it executes function, because in creation phase the function was defined in a global variable environment. So hoisting is not a feature. I know many people says that it is some kind of lifting function definition to the top, but it is not feature. It is consequence, it is side effect of this memory state of creation phase. So this is not a feature, and even it is potentially dangerous. Let me explain. Let's say we have this block like if is Monday, and we put some logic here. And if we declare variable is Monday equals true here, so in the creation phase is Monday is undefined. And if we run our code, when JavaScript hits this line, at this moment is Monday is undefined. And this logic is not executed, so we are creating here bug. By definition, variable is Monday after this block. So this is the first dangerous thing, and second dangerous thing is actually variables, vars and functions are in a global execution context are stored in global variable environment. Global variable environment. And everything inside global variable environment, for our case is add and sum, it is going also to be part of window object. That means it is pollution of our global object. So it means if we write window dot add, we get function definition, and if we write window dot sum, we get number 7, and it is a pollution of our window object. I can mention another scenario. Let's say we have in our global execution context something which matches window API. For example, we are going to create function set timeout. Some logic here. We are going to override our set timeout, the window API. So our set timeout will not work in our application. So if you are curious how these problems were solved, I will talk about it in next video. But for now, let's go to the code examples and we will see consequences and memory states in DevTools. Let's go to the hoisting example. So we have, for example, var animal equals lion and console log any animal. I can start my simple web page. If I reload the page, I have printed lion here. So far so good. But if I change the order and refresh the page, I have here undefined, because in a creation phase, JavaScript assigned value of undefined to lion, and then there was a execution phase. But here we have console log animal, and then we are assigning value here. So at the moment of hitting line number 1, the animal is undefined. Second example was our code function add a b, and it returns var result a plus b and return result. And here we are calling, or we are defining another variable, sum equals add 3 and 4. And if we go to our code, to the sources, we can see our code here. I can put breakpoint here because execution starts here. So I'm going to refresh my page and I can see scope and global. And inside global, I have function definition, because in our creation phase, JavaScript just did a copy of add function and it put it to the global variable environment. Let's see our sum variable. Sum variable at this moment is undefined, because in creation phase, undefined was assigned to sum variable. So we can go to the next step. We have here new environment, or local variable environment, and here we have this keyword pointing to the window, and we have defined A and B parameters, but result is not defined, is undefined, because this is after creation phase. If we go to the next step, we can see that result is 7, and we can go to our sum. It is still undefined. And if we do next step, we can see that our local variable environment disappeared. That means garbage collector figured out that this execution context is not needed anymore, and it deleted it. And if we go to our sum, yeah, we have number 7. We can also change the order. We can put some before, and we can see what is going to happen. I can remove this one and restart our code. We don't log it, so sorry. We can console log sum, and if we go here, we can see number 7 because of hoisting, because in creation phase function was defined or declared in a global variable environment. And third example, if is Monday console log is Monday and var is Monday equals true. If we run our code, we don't see any log because in creation phase undefined was assigned to is Monday, and at the time of execution is Monday is undefined. So if we changed order, we have here is Monday. I almost forgot to mention the last example with window API. So let's create a function, set interval, return hello, and let's call this function set interval. We are getting hello instead of interval, so set interval is here. And this is quite dangerous behavior. If you are curious how these issues were resolved or fixed in modern JavaScript versions, I will talk about it in the next chapter. Cheers!